One. Hello and welcome to Full Follow. With me today, I have Jerry. How you doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I sorry we're a little bit late getting started. That was my bad. I take full responsibility of that, but appreciate you taking the time and putting me on the show. It's going to be fun, I hope.
Yeah, it will be. So tell my viewers a little bit about your business here.
Well, I'm Jerry Jordan. Most people in NASCAR that have been around know who I am. I run Kicking the Tires, kickingthetires.net. We've been around for 23 years. I have a great staff with Seth Eggert and Matt Corson, Zach Catanzaretti, Rachel Schuler, and Justin Schuler, and Cole Cusimano. This team makes all this happen. I've had some great people through the years as well that have come from Kicking the Tires and moved on to jobs at NASCAR or jobs at NBC or Fox, or even with some of the teams and some of the dealerships in the sport, car dealerships and things like that. I've I basically kind of use Kicking the Tires to help young people get into the sport through kind of an internship program and writing and covering races. And then I train them how to be a reporter, how to find news. My background is investigative reporting and business and county record reporting and things of that nature. So I'm able to teach people how to basically learn to report and how to act and basically be professional in a sporting environment like NASCAR. Or I mean, you can apply it to anything, but if you want to be a journalist, that's something I try to help people become.
That's awesome. So what got you into journalism?
So I started Kicking the Tires in 2001. My late sister was a huge NASCAR fan, and she encouraged me to get involved, to possibly go to a race, to base. I wasn't interested in racing. My dad raced cars at a local dirt track when I was a kid. I had the opportunity to do that. I ended up becoming a photographer and a writer, and in high school, when I had the opportunity to go race at a local dirt track from a local race team operator, I decided no, I wasn't going to do it. And so I never really thought about it. That's fast forward to 2001, 11 years after I was out of high school, and I went to my first race. I actually was the editor of a newspaper, and I applied for media credentials and got media credentials to the race. Went to the race, did fall in love with it, and over time, over a period of several years, kept covering more and more races. I covered three races my first year, I believe, and then my second year, I think about bumped up to like six, maybe. And by 2006, I was covering 17 to 20 races a year of a 36, 37 race schedule. And I didn't even have a hard card in NASCAR. So some great people, the late David Poole and Marty Smith from ESPN, they went to NASCAR on my behalf as I requested a hard card and said, look, this guy is, worthy of having it. He's covered the sport. He's done all this stuff. And NASCAR gave me a hard card, and things have gone great ever since, or as great as they can be in NASCAR.
Yeah. So talk talk to us about what you feel is the biggest headline going into this weekend.
This weekend, the Charlotte Roval is going to be a dicey situation. It's a cutoff race. You got to look at those guys that are, below the cutoff line, or those that are right there on the cutoff line. You could gain or lose a lot of points this weekend. Racing storyline, that is probably, the biggest. Who comes out victorious on after the Roval? I mean, you got to look at some of the guys like, could Ryan Blaney do it? Could Chase Elliott do it? Kyle Larson? Any of those guys win? It makes it interesting because you don't know what it's going to do to the people below them. How's the cutoff line going to shift or move? And I think that's what's really interesting about this particular round coming off of Talladega, which was obviously a big unknown. But next weekend we've got Las Vegas, and I'll be out in Las Vegas for that. You know, when you're in the playoffs, these cutoff races like this week and the first race of the playoffs, in my opinion, the first race of each round in the playoffs are really some of the crucial. The middle race, yeah, it's a middle race. It is what it is. But the crucial races are that first one and that cutoff race for each round. And this is going to be very dicey this weekend.
So what do you think? Who who's your champion this year? Who's kicking the tires looking at
I
the
look.
record?
Before he filed a lawsuit, I thought Denny Hamlin would be champion. I'm still wondering if that can happen. But I'm sticking with my man Denny. Okay, I think Denny Hamlin is going to win the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series championship. Is it going to be an easy road? Absolutely not. But I think that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, so you mentioned for those of you that don't know, the 2311 and the 34 team of Michael McGowan of Front Row Motorsports have filed a lawsuit against NASCAR. And, and what was your reaction when you heard that?
I wasn't shocked. It did not shock me a bit. We've been watching this sponsor this contract negotiation play out for 2 years now. Um, I know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people aren't aware of. Teams are in different situations, different predicaments, but you've heard Rick Hendricks say it. You heard Richard Childress say it. They felt like they had to sign it. They've got too much invested to sign, not to sign the charter agreement with NASCAR. What I find very interesting is, Front Row and 2311, they took a stand. And they took a stand in solid, together. They were two groups on a mountain by themselves, basically, because those other teams, they're in the shadows watching, but there's nothing they could do at this point because they signed the contract. Can a different outcome from this lawsuit impact what they've already signed? Absolutely, it could. Anybody that says it won't is a fool and doesn't know how law works. Um, because if the contract is signed under duress or it's deemed uh, voidable for some reason, and a court and a jury and judges and appeals and everybody else goes through that, uh, you know, it could drastically change the way things are done for all teams, uh, and rightly so. Whether NASCAR's right or whether Denny Hamlin and 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, whether that group is right, I don't know. It's not my decision. Um, I know that NASCAR thinks they're right and the teams think they're right, and it's not going to come out anytime soon. Look, there was an injunction filed. They have about 72 hours to have that a hearing on that injunction. Um, so we'll see what happens. That they may get an extension on the injunction before it's over with. I know that NASCAR filed an extension request on some discovery and some other issues that were going on. So I've got to pull the documents on that. But kickingthetires.net is going to do its best to have copies of all the documents from the court case posted on our website. And this is not going to be an inexpensive undertaking for me. Those documents cost me money, but I want people to come to the website and be able to see what is filed in court as it happens. And I actually was when you called and reminded me that I have a show to do tonight. I was in there with my wife and I was working on my computer doing those documents and getting them ready to go online because there was a bunch of filings yesterday and today. So you'll be able to look for your listeners, and as when I do a story and put it out on social media, you'll be able to see documents online as they pop up, and I'll also have generic coverage as well of the lawsuit from time to time. I may even be sitting in the courtroom a couple of times during these hearings and as things play out. I will say this that people may not know. A lot of these documents are going to be filed under seal, which means you, me, the outside world can't see what those documents are. And there's already been some of those documents filed. I saw them online today, so we won't know what those documents are because unless the judge decides to unseal them. Um, I think everything should be in open. I think all of it should be public because that's the way our courts work. We shouldn't have secret documents and things like that. But that's me as a reporter just saying that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So tell us real quick, what got you started? You mentioned your sister encouraged you to start kicking the tires, but what really got you started reporting on racing, and how did you come up with the name kicking the tires?
I went to the first race and I was under the name of the newspaper that I worked for at the time. I no longer work there. I left it in about 12 or 13, 12 years ago. Um, and I, after going to the race, I started thinking about, man, how can I honestly, as as simple as it sounds, I thought, how can I make money from this? How can I've always been a risk taker and a venture, an entrepreneur to some degree. And I'm like, how could I profit from this? How can I make money off of NASCAR? And I don't make a lot of money, just to tell you, I don't. Um, I make enough to cover a lot of the stuff that I do in NASCAR, but I was kicking around names and someone said, what about kicking the tires and lighting the fires? And I'm like, that's cheesy, but I like the kicking the tires part. And I started Google searching stuff. Um, and actually, I don't actually think I Google searched it. I think I used Alta Vista. This was 2001. Remember, I either used Ask Jeeves or Alta Vista or one of the other. I don't think it was technically Google. So some fact checker out there will probably call me out. But I mean, it was a search engine on the internet. Um, and and it may have been Yahoo. Hell, I don't remember. But when I started looking for like, has anybody used this name like in anything? Is other than that saying of that, and I'm nobody. I couldn't find really anything, and so I thought of a logo. Like, how could we? The K looks like somebody kicking, So we, if you look at our logo, it shows it has a K and it's kicking. It's kicking a tire, and that's where the design came up from. This was all in 2001, 2002, and that time frame. And it started off honestly as a column in a newspaper, and I sold advertising around the column, and I, would make money off that. Then I ended up buying into a radio station. I had a blog and some other stuff, but then I bought into the radio station and I had a show and I was selling ads on the show to make money to cover racing and going to different tracks and things. Um, and I had the website. I created the website, and I think we created the website in 2009 officially. I bought the domain name. Somebody already had kickingthetires.com by then. Um, Ironically enough, that's somebody that lives in Michigan. Um, I have tried to buy that name from them for, 15 years now, and they've only once did they actually respond to me. And we could not come to terms on a number, but I actually own the trademark of kicking the tires. So even if he registers that domain name, he could never use it for any type of auto racing or podcast or anything. I own the trademark for kicking the tires. There's nothing he can do with it related to the motorsports world to make any money. And if he watches your show, I'm still interested to buy the kickingthetires.com website domain, but pretty much my brand is kickingthetires.net. Everybody knows it is kickingthetires.net. I have built it to be kickingthetires.net, and I'm okay with it if it stays that way forever. But you know what? We have been very successful through the years, broken some huge stories, and I got started because, as my late sister said, I fell in love with the sport, and I kind of wanted to be in it. And when I decided I want to make a living in it, I did exactly that. I shifted everything in 2012 and went, pretty much full time motorsports and doing this. I have a marketing company as well now, uh, and I dabble in a lot of other investments and things that I do. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
So, did your wife help with kicking the tires?
Absolutely not. She hates auto racing. Actually, she doesn't hate auto racing. She doesn't. She just, my wife is an engineer. She's a chemical engineer, and I don't know if you know anything about engineers. They are very rigid. Like everything is
Yeah.
planned. There's a list. But yeah, she doesn't like the chaos of my life. She doesn't like to travel. She had to travel on business this week, and she's like, I forgot how much I don't like going through TSA. I was like, welcome to my world. I do it every week. I just kind of smile and going about my business. But yeah, so she doesn't want to travel with me going to NASCAR stuff, because that's no fun for her. But I love it. I love traveling and doing what I do. Earlier this week, I flew to Vegas on Tuesday. My birthday was Monday. Turned 53. On Tuesday, I got on a plane in the afternoon and flew to Las Vegas. I went to the Mandalay Bay. I went up on the roof at the foundation room there, and kudos to the Mandalay Bay and that group. They were great. I took video of the Tropicana Casino being imploded right there on the as you get to the south end of the Las Vegas Strip, right before MGM Grand. And it was an amazing experience. At six, that happened at 2:30 in the morning Vegas time. At 6 a.m. Vegas time, I was back on an airplane, wheels up, in the air at 6 a.m., flying back to Houston to go to my office to get ready for the rest of the week. That's my life.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you for taking time out of your life to come on Full Follow.
Hey, I love it. I appreciate you. I'll come on here anytime, Look, kickingthetires.net is we're fun. We do a lot of research on our stories. We don't report on a lot of rumors like some people do. We don't do a lot of clickbait stuff. It's just something that I want it to be a professional organization. I'm not afraid to get shots taken at me. People can criticize me all they want. They trust me. I was an investigative reporter for 20 plus years. I put 37 public officials in prison with stories that I wrote about them of taking money or bribes or all kinds of other stuff. 37. Okay. There's nothing these people in NASCAR, these fans or the drivers or the sport or the sanctioning body or the employees or anything, they can't say anything to me or about me that I probably haven't heard already because they're not going to be able to hurt my feelings. I just go out there to report the truth and tell you what's happening in the sport, and that's what I teach my reporters to do as well. That's why we've been able. I don't care if I make a dime. I'd like to make a dime. Trust me, I'm in it for the money, but I'm also in it because I love it. And I'm in it to help others. Somebody joked last year I was the media development team for for young journalists, kind of like the Xfinity series is for young drivers. So I said I kind of like that. You can call me the media development team. So that's our shtick. That's what we do. And kickingthetires.net on Twitter, on Facebook, and you can find me personally, Jerry Jordan _ KTT. And I'm going to do you one better. Look, fans out there, they want to talk. You look me up. You have my number. My number is 409-498-1074. People can text me directly and talk to me. I have no problem with it whatsoever. It's on my business card. It's on the website. People want to give me ideas. They want to talk to me about stories, things like that. I don't know very many other people that publicly give away their cell phone number right here. It's right here. You can call me. I'd appreciate you not calling me between the hours of like midnight and 6 a.m. But if you do and I'm awake, I'll answer the phone.
Yeah, you've
So
been great, Jerry.
So there you go. I mean, that's as real as you can get right there.
Yeah, that's as true as you can get right here on Full Throttle. Alright, this has been Full Throttle with Justin Butler. On behalf of Gary and myself, we thank you for watching. Goodbye, everyone.